everyone and welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV, where it's time to continue the Warring Triad questline as we take on our second extreme trial for Heavensward against Ravana. Before we begin, when we did Bismarck, we picked up the mount, but I forgot to actually look at the information for Bismarck's mount, the White Lantern. These birds are clad in roiling clouds, and noble Vanu Vanu warriors would sit astride them as part of the Bismarck's retinue. The grace with which they glide through the skies evokes the image of a flower petal being carried by gentle western winds. From what we have observed, Bismarck is a creature of pure instinct, driven primarily by hunger. Sid. Alright. Unukalhai, what do you got for us? Unukalhai would have us face the Lord of the Hives once more. As you prepare yourself for battle, so too does Ravana. Within Thok, he builds his strength, feeding upon the prayers of his innumerable children. But those same children will not suffer you to live should you surrender yourself to them a second time. Nay, you must devise a new way of approaching the Lord of the Hive's domain. Consult with the storyteller, the Elder of the Vath, and he will aid in this endeavor. Take this bauble. 'Tis known among the Nath as the Burning Eye of Ravana. When the time comes, you will know what to do. Alright. Let's see if we can't figure out how to reach Ravana and take him down once more. So, on to Lothas Vath. Alright, arriving in Lothas Vath. Hello there, Vath storyteller.
Ah, our hunter friend. Welcome. You come hunting gods once more. The non-mind is glad of your thirst for divine blood. Ever more rapacious do the one mind grow as they seek offerings to glut our deity's insatiable appetite. Another path to our god's domain? Yes, there is but one way. You must seek out the giant hive on the far side of the colony, and attune your spirit to the aetheryte ensconced within. But the deed is not possible. We hear that the crystal is warded by ancient ritual magics. The One Mind have woven the seals such that only the most worthy of warriors shall be granted leave to enter Thok. And they do not share with the non-mind what they consider worthy.
Well, here's hoping that Burning Eye of Ravana will allow us entry. I'll meet you down at the Jaina Hive, I guess. Alright, arriving at the entrance. I do believe this is where we originally went in to confront Ravana, when we were all the way back with Iceheart and Alphino. No, did we go in this way? We might have gone in this way instead. We went in some direction, but that is a rather large aetheryte. No, this is definitely where we went the first time. Alright, let's attune. After a pause, we smash the gemstone against the aetheryte. Nothing much happens. Out of habit, we attune with the aetheryte, and once more nothing much happens. Other than Thok Extreme is now accessible. Willed back into existence by his zealous children, Ravana, the Lord of the Hive, has risen again with ever greater savagery. Left unchecked, the wrath of the colony will surely seek out the Warring Triad on Azus Law to feed upon the sleeping icon's strength. Heed Unukalhai's warning and slay the entity before his insatiable appetite for power unleashes destruction of cataclysmic proportions. Alright, I'll be back in due time with my friends, and we will take on Ravana Extreme. Alright, we have our party together. Let's do this. Thok Extreme. Alright, so Ravana has 8 phases, through which he will be switching between 3 different stances, with each stance having a different set of mechanics. I believe he opens in Dragonfly. Yes, he opens in Dragonfly. Each phase will last until his bloodlust meter reaches 100, at which point he will change stances and phases. After the 8th phase, 8th stance change, he will enrage and kill us. Abilities that we're seeing here, we have the Seeing X, places the barrier on 3 sides of Ravana. If we hit the barrier, we get damaged, knocked back, and slowed. So don't hit from the sides that had the barrier pop up. He also has some high damage frontal cleave, so only the tanks should stand in front. And he pretty quickly switches over to Scorpion, at which point he begins charging up Prelude to Liberation. Over the course of Prelude to Liberation, let's see. It looks like he's not doing much of anything, but when the cast ends, he'll do a large point-blank AoE. There will be a series of line AoEs that will explode after a short time, random circle AoEs that cause a burn on the player that steps in them, and 5 players get purple circles around them, which will explode and deal damage to anyone standing in them. Nobody should stand in more than 2 purple circles. After Prelude to Liberation, we move on to Liberation. When this cast ends, there will be an AoE everywhere except for directly behind him. This did take us 3 attempts. I'm going to show the first and the last attempt. There will be an AoE everywhere except directly behind him, so everyone should stack behind Ravana. He then jumps up and lands somewhere randomly around the edge of the arena, doing a big point-blank AoE. And then 3 clones of him will land either clockwise from him or counterclockwise from him. And then the clones will dash out across the arena, just like that, in the order they landed. Think of it like Ifrit's dashes from Ifrit Extreme. I think that might also show up in Ifrit Hard, but it definitely shows up in Extreme. Alright, after that, it looks like he moves on to Phase 3 Dragonfly, leading into his ultimate ability. And a short ways into this phase, he begins charging up his ultimate. Around this point, around a quarter of the way through the Bloodlust gauge, he does a big AoE, and then he starts preparing the next big mechanic. Alright, so I'm reading off of Console Games Wiki for all of his mechanics. Let's start going over in detail what Dragonfly and Scorpion can do. Dragonfly has Blinding Blade, which is a high damage frontal cleave. The Seeing X is the 3 barriers we saw before. Atma Linga is a raid-wide AoE. Tapasya is a frontal cone cleave that hits 3 times. Warlord Shell shields himself. It must be broken before it wears off or we will wipe. I don't believe he uses that in Phase 1. That might be a later phase thing. Probably going to be Phase 6 if I had to guess. The order of his phases are Dragonfly, Scorpion, Dragonfly into his ultimate, Beetle, Scorpion, Dragonfly, Beetle, Scorpion, and then Enrage. There's Bloody Fuller on Kandrahas. That is his ultimate ability in Phase 3. We'll get onto that. We'll get into that in a minute. Blinding Blade is an instant cast. It looks like the damage is split between any tanks who take it, so if both tanks are standing in front, they split the damage. It's split with anyone who gets hit, so that is similar to Shiva's frontal cleave then. Interesting. So if there's only one, some parties will go in with only one tank, in which case, for that, they will turn Ravana around to share the damage with the raid, split it between everyone. And it looks like that's about it for Dragonfly mechanics. Moving on to Scorpion. Scorpion has the major mechanics of the fight. The majority of the fight's mechanics. We've gone over Prelude to Liberation. We've gone over Liberation. He also has Swift Liberation, which appears in Phase 5, I want to say. About 3/4 of the way through Swift Liberation's cast bar, 4 players get marked with a blue sword icon. They'll be marked with 1, 2, 3, and 4 swords. Those 1, 2, 3, and 4 swords are the order in which people will get hit. It will be line AoEs as Ravana dashes to player to player. So he'll dash to 1, and then to 2, and then to 3, and then to 4. The recommendation is that the player with 1 sword moves north, 2 swords moves east, 3 moves south, and 4 moves west. Everyone else stacks roughly in the middle. Everyone should stack roughly to the west, and then move to the middle once he dashes out of the way. Alright, anyways, back in Phase 3 Dragonfly, he's starting to charge up his ultimate, and these butterflies will start spawning. These Ganas. We need to kill them quickly. If they are allowed to rest for too long, then they will turn into swords, and each sword that appears will give us a Vuln stack during his ultimate, which is happening right now.
Combat!
Parts of the arena will break away, so now we can fall off, which is dangerous. But since we killed all the butterflies, we didn't get any Vuln stacks, so we were relatively safe. Alright, anything else to look out for? We're not going to get to too many more of his mechanics, unfortunately. But after his ultimate, he switches into Beetle stance, which he's in right now. He is basically in defensive mode. He doesn't do a lot of damage to us in this phase, but he is defending himself. His defense is way up. A few of his abilities here are Pillars of Heaven, which is a raid-wide AoE knockback, where the damage that is done is based on proximity. He's charging up Swift Liberation right now in his Phase 5 Scorpion stance. We talked about that earlier. Yeah, we didn't have enough time to go through most of his mechanics.
Thus does the sacred rite of combat proclaim the victor. I lay my blades at thy feet, child of man.
Thanks to the power of being synced and not on mine difficulty, he dies so fast. Anyways, I will see you back with Past Me once we hop out of the duty. Nice and easy, only took 3 attempts. Really, really quick. Alright, we are back. We cleared the extreme. Took 3 pulls, I think it was? 4 pulls, maybe? Didn't take too long. It wasn't as easy as Bismarck, but that was expected. Alright, we did go ahead and grind out the whistle for me for the new mount. Took us 6 attempts, I believe, to get the mount. It was a little bit stubborn compared to the Bismarck mount, which came pretty quickly. The ferocity of these birds is enough to give pause to the bravest warrior, and their keen talons cut through flesh as cleanly as the Chandrahas themselves. Any who endeavor to mount the Rose Lantern must possess the savagery that defines the wrath of the colony. Master of the Sacred Blade. Sorry, this is not. Master of the Sacred Blade. Wrath of the colony, conqueror of the world, hear our prayer. There we go. Got the mount for that one. There's other things we picked up from there as well, including the Triple Triad card, which we'll get to next time. But for now, let's go ahead and turn in the quests. Once more you have slain our ravening god. Your tribe must think you a great hunter indeed. Even the one mind must begin to appreciate the folly of their wasteful summonings. But tell us, great hunter, how are you able to pass the seal? Did it simply melt away at the approach of your indomitable presence? I was given this Eye of Ravana by a friend? A gemstone of fire and earth. There is something, a memory we have from the Overmind, before we were cast out. A memory of the burning Eye of Ravana. The Overmind has recollections of legends 100 generations old. We remember the tale of our god as he once was, an all-devouring beast whose eye was torn from him by an invading tribe. The Noth have sought to recover this lost relic for centuries that it might be rejoined with Ravana before reborn. But even were it found, it is said that only the most worthy of warriors can bear its searing touch. I now understand why the seal granted you passage. But tell us, Great Hunter, how came you by the eye? Gifted to me by a strange friend.
A youngling named Unukalhai. Your deed has returned many memories to the surface of our mind, but that name is not among them. To gift you with such a prize, he, too, must have thought you worthy. We thank you, great hunter. Too soon do our memories from the Overmind fade, but you have given us a new story to tell. Alright, and now back to Unukalhai to wrap it up. Hello there, Unukalhai. Good news on Ravana. And thus has the Lord of the Hive's essence returned unto the land. And thus has the essence of Ravana joined that of the Lord of the Mist in its return unto the land. You have my gratitude, Warrior of Light. Without your valiant efforts, these primal terrors would have invited devastation on a cataclysmic scale. For unlike others of their ilk, Bismarck and Ravana both harbor the desire and the power to reach Azizla. It is with dreadful certainty that I sense their intent to feed on the strength of the Warring Triad, and thereby amplify their own power by an order of magnitude. By what wisdom do I claim such certainty? I am gifted with, how shall I put this, an intimate knowledge of the primal mind. You are curious, I am sure, but you need not understand the nature of a power to use it, do you? It is much the same with the Echo, I imagine. Ah, the realm of Eorzea. Ever has it been a land embraced by gods. For weal or for woe, I should wonder. For the time being, I shall remain here in the Rising Stones and assist Urianger with his research into the icons. If you should require aught further of me, simply ask. And that concludes the first part of Unukalhai's questline, which will last throughout the entire rest of the expansion. Unukalhai is going to be the source of the Trial series for Heavensward. Back in A Realm Reborn, the Trial series was the primal fights that we did throughout the main story. But for Heavensward through Shadowbringers, the trials, the optional, or the most of the trials in the patches for each expansion are going to be a side quest series, a side story that just expands upon the world a little bit. In Endwalker, they moved to bring the trials back into the main story and not make them optional, because unfortunately, as good as the trial stories are, and I do believe these trial stories are very good, they're also the least played part of the game. Other than, like, the high-end rating scene. But the high-end rating scene is expected to be a little bit less played because it's high-end. The Trial series, for the most part, are all normal difficulty content. Like, Bismarck and Ravana Extreme? Yeah, that's the introduction to the Trial series, but it's also optional. You can skip past them and just move on with the rest of Unukalhai's story once we're a little bit further in the main story. So yeah, no, the the side trials, the optional trials, I love them a lot. Especially, Heavenswords are good. Stormbloods are great. Shadowbringers, if you're a certain type of person or like a certain type of media, Shadowbringer is peak. Shadowbringer trials are peak. Alright, any updates in here? Nope. Alright then. That concludes Unukalhai's story for now. We'll get back to this in patch 3.1 for now. I will see everyone next time, as we're going to finish up patch 3.0 by doing all the triple triad around Heavensward, the base game of Heavensward. I've actually got most of that done already on my own time, just need to, put it all together. There's a lot of grinding involved, but I'll be back next time for that. And then, probably a short break before we move on to patch 3.1. I'll see everyone next time for that.